Hey guys, it's Rahim. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button because I talk about property investment, personal development, and how to gain financial freedom. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 6 essential tips for renting to rent. Some people call it rent to rent. Before I start this video, I'd like to ask you for a favor. We have done a little research. We've realized 61% of the people that are watching my videos have not hit the subscribe button. If you are one of those that have not hit the subscribe button to support this channel, I'd like you to kindly do me a favor and hit that subscribe button now so that you can get notifications for when we post future videos, and it also help the channel grow, and by liking the video also help the algorithm to push the videos to lots and lots and lots of more people. So thank you so much for your support and your generosities, and I hope this channel is helping you immensely to start your property investment, or perhaps to take your finances into your own hands. And if you've been watching me for a very long time, hopefully you would have started to implement what I've got to share with you, or all the stuff I've shared with you to take your finances into the next level. So what is rent to rent? Rent to rent is also known as subletting. It is a process by which an investor will rent a house, usually a 4+ bedroom house, and subsequently rent it room by room basis at a higher price. So he get the property for a cheaper price from a landlord, and then he subsequently rent that same house room by room basis to people that are looking for rooms. See the landlord as a wholesaler and you being the retailer. So that's what the concept is. That then allows you to generate profit that would enable you to pay your landlord and obviously make that profit for when the months end or through that property. Here are the 7 essential tips for renting to rent. Number 1, legal compliance. You see, if you're taking on a rent-to-rent property, you're not taking it for a year. You're not taking it for, say, a couple of years. Perhaps if you know what you're doing, you're taking it for 3, 4, 5, or sometimes even 10 to 15 years. So the lease agreement that you are going to be making, make sure it protects you and your landlord. Make sure you read everything in that contract to ensure that you know what you're getting into, because in most cases you're guaranteeing the landlord the rent. Ensure there's nothing there that can tie you into do stuff that you do not meant to do. And with the legal compliance, check the property that you're taking on whether it's compliant to what you want to do. Suppose you want to do it as a HMO property. Do you require to have a HMO license? Do you require to have fire doors in all the bedrooms? Do you require fire alarms in all the bedrooms? Whatever that may be for you, if for that specific council, you need to find out if you're compliant in the first place. Do you require to have a license as a landlord? Whatever that may be for you, you need to know before you take on the property. When I'm talking about landlord here, I'm not talking about you owning the property. You can get a management agent license, for example. So if you're operating in Wales, in order for you to manage your property, you need to have an agent license in order for you to be able to manage your property in Wales. Suppose you're anywhere in the country, find out whether that specific council borough requires you to have a license to operate a property. Number 2, solid landlord agreement. Make sure your tenancy agreement with your landlord is solid. It protects you, your investment, because in most cases you're taking on dead properties and you want to bring these properties to life. It may involve investing money in the property, so make sure you protect it in a way that once you put your money in, the landlord is not going to turn around and say, look, I won't want to do it anymore, give me my property back. So have a clause in there where the landlord want to F you up. You can say, listen, if you want to F me up, this is how we're going to do it. So you want to protect you and protect the landlord, because at the end of the day, you are a property investor, not a charity. Make sure all that is done. So once you've done that agreement, now you've got the property yourself. The agreement with your tenant. Suppose you're renting the property in a room by room basis, you're talking about the tenancy agreement between you and your tenant. Make sure you vet the tenants nicely. Make sure you got a solid contract between you and the tenant that protects you and protects your tenant. Don't do it in haste. Do not do it in rushing because you don't want to rent the property quickly, because you don't want to have voids. Make sure you vet the tenant. Make sure they are the right tenant for your property, and ensure the contract is the most relevant legal contract between you and your tenant. Number 4, quality of tenants. Now, what do I mean by quality of tenants? So once you've got a property, you need to determine what sort of tenants you want in that property. What do I mean by that? Is by selecting the type of tenant. You want working professionals. If you do, you need to make sure all the people in that house are working professional. Okay? You don't want to mix it. Second, are you looking for student? Now, if you're looking for a student, what type of student do you want in your property? If you want undergrad, you need to make sure all of them are undergraduate students. Okay? If you want postgraduate student, make sure they are all postgraduate student. The reason why you want the same caliber of people in your property is stop the confusion, is stop the fusion, is stop the problems, is stop the fight, because they then tend to get along really, really nicely. I learned this the hard way. When I start my property investment journey, I was really excited, really happy. I've got these properties. I was just looking for any tenant to move into my houses. So the mistake I did, basically, I took an undergrad student, took a master's program student, took a working professional, whacked them all in one house. Guess what happens? They were fighting every day. What really made it worse? One of the tenants lost their job, they become redundant, and they're not working. They were at home all the time. These people are going to university, some of them are going to work, coming back, saying this guy's sitting on the same sofa playing game all day long. Guess what? They start fighting. Why is he sitting on the sofa doing nothing? He's not looking after the house. It becomes a bitching and moaning situation. I start getting calls at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, fighting and all that. To avoid that, find quality tenants. And the quality tenants are normally people with the same caliber. Choose your tenant wisely. If they're working professionals, make sure they are all working professional. Vet them, get a guarantor. Very important to get a guarantor for your property. Here's the thing, if you got your guarantor, you've literally guaranteed your rental income, because they're not going to FT you up. Because if they did, guess what? You go for their guarantor, and their guarantor obviously will then compensate you for that rent that they failed to pay. So ensure the guarantors are there. You may be thinking, how much do they need to be earning for me to not ask for a guarantor? In my properties, the law we have, whether you're earning £100,000, £50,000, we do not care. We need you to provide us a guarantor. The guarantor is a cushion for you. It's a deterrent, okay? It stops people messing about. And some people will lose their job. Or some people, they're on the verge of losing their job. And then as soon as they move into a house, they've lost their job, they've got no money anymore, and then paying rent becomes a problem. Hence the reason why it's important to have a guarantor to get you that cushion. Okay? Very important for you to do that, because one, the tenant do not want to disappoint their guarantor. And then if they don't pay, you go after the guarantor, and then the guarantor will push them to pay you your rent. Don't take it personal, it's business. Next, suppose then you rented the property in order to do it as serviced accommodation. Some people call it Airbnb. I'm talking about the guest here. If you've got a guest, make sure you have terms and conditions for them. Right? So when they book you in, you get an automated email sent to them to say, hello, thank you for booking my apartment, thank you for booking my house, you're absolutely amazing. However, here is our terms and conditions. Get them to read your terms and conditions. When they arrived in the property, make sure you have notice boards where you can write your terms and conditions, where they can see it as well, especially the noise, right? Because some next door neighbors are really nosy neighbors, and you don't want them to be checking what you're doing. So that is very, very, very important. And make sure you get the right sort of guest type in your properties. You need to have people that are making parties, stag do's. Again, this will depend the type of property you have. Number 5, financial planning and cash flow management. Very important for you to take this to the core. Cash flow is the oxygen of your business. It is the air. It is like the air that you breathe. You remember, if you don't breathe, you die, okay? You cannot hold your breath for 3-4 minutes unless if you're superhuman. But see cash flow that way, okay? Because cash flow is the oxygen of your business. So here's the thing. Once you start making profit, do not start spending that money. If anything, reinvest either to improve the property or reinvest to extend your portfolio. Don't use that money to go on holiday. Don't use that money to go on parties. Don't use that money to go on giving gifts. No. Keep that money somewhere in a bank account just in case you have a void, for example. Suppose the tenant moves out. They didn't like the house, they move out. You have a void, you have one room vacant. So if you've been using all your rental income, all your profit, guess what? You got void, you struggle to pay your landlord. So very important to plan ahead. Keep that money in the bank, okay? At least until you have minimum of 3-month rent buffer to pay your landlord, okay? And then you can use the rest to reinvest perhaps, okay? To expand your property investment portfolio. Vitally important to make sure the deal works before you take the property on. Analyze it. See how much people are paying rent for a bedroom. How much landlord is asking versus the market rent. What are the expenses? How much are the expenses? So if you take away all your expenses, how much profit you're making. And bear in mind, you always want to overestimate your expenses. Okay, overestimate your expenses, and guess what? You underestimate your income. If you did that and you're still making profit, you are on the right track. Very important for you to be able to make that work for you, because here's the thing: if you've given the landlord your word, you don't want to go back to your word saying, oh hello landlord, I haven't got the money to pay you this month, can we skip this month to the next month? No, you don't want that. As soon as you start doing that, you started to ruin your relationship with your landlord, and he may not be able to refi you. Next, number 7, build good relationships with your tenant and landlord. Now, let's start with tenant. The reason why you want to build relationship with your tenant is because you want them to notify you as soon something goes wrong, i.e. something to do with repair and maintenance. Maybe they may not be able to pay their rent on time. Building relationship with them would enable them to have the confidence to report any issues in the property, because when the issues are small, they're easy to fix. Okay, don't let it be until it becomes a massive problem before you go and start solving it, because once it's become a massive problem, it becomes a massive investment to make to resolve that issue. So building relationship with your tenant help you eliminate that sort of problem. Now, you need to be careful building relationship with your tenant. I'm not asking you to love them, to go for a drink with them, or to take them to a party or clubbing with them. That's not the sort of relationship I'm asking you here for, okay? I'm asking you to do a professional relationship with your tenant. Again, I learned this the hard way. You know, I'm young. When I started, right, I became a friend to all my tenants, almost all of them. We used to go out together. We used to go parties. We used to go clubbing. We used to do barbecues together and all that sort of thing. So they become so familiar to me, and they stop paying me my rent, because we kind of become a very close friends. That's not the sort of relationship you want to do, okay? You want to maintain a good professional relationship in order to protect your investment. Landlord. Building relationship with your landlord will get you diamond properties, lots and lots of properties. How do you build relationship with your landlord? Perhaps once you've taken on their property, you do a bit of work in the property, add value to the property. Invite them to come and see how the property looks like, okay? Or perhaps you want to ask them if they're struggling in any of their properties, or if they have anything that they're struggling with. Again, you can go and help them. Asking how you can add value in their life would really, really help you build that relationship. And paying their rent, of course, on time. Don't let them chase you for the rent, okay? Don't let them ring you, I need my rent, can you pay my rent? No, you don't want to do that. You want to be building relationship, adding value, because once you start adding value in their life, guess what they will do? They will refer you to themselves, okay? You end up taking more of their properties, and guess what? They refer you to other landlords, because landlords know landlords. So they will be referring you, and then guess what? Will build a snowball effect. By the time you think about it, you've got lots and lots and lots of properties. Here's the thing. You do not need lots of landlords. Some of you only need 2 landlords. Once you've got 2 landlords, or even 1 landlord, some of them got multiple of properties. If you're serving them really, really well, guess what? They'll hand all those properties to you. Some of you only need 2 landlords. And then what they do, they got 1 property, maybe they refer you to their cousins, their aunties, their brothers, their friends, and it becomes a snowball effect. For example, I've got 1 landlord. I started with that landlord. I literally took over 8 of his properties. From 1 landlord, he got 8 properties. So it's not about basically just getting the property, move on to the next. No, it's about building that relationship in order for you to get a referral. And here's the kicker. Once you've got a land property on a rent-to-rent basis, speak to the landlord like this. Look, John, if I do this property up nicely, I set it up and I pay you rent every single month, would you be able to recommend me to 5 other landlords? Boom! That literally is a kicker. That gets me lots and lots and lots of properties. They may not have 5 people to refer you, but the first person will be them, the second person will be them, the third person will be them, and then the fourth person will be someone else, and then the fifth person will be someone else. So believe you me now, as long as you add value in advance, it will transform your investment journey. Implementing these tips I've just shared with you would help you become successful and profitable rent-to-rent investor. That would get you to start buying your own properties and eventually get you to become a property millionaire. I really hope this video has been helpful. If this video has been helpful, hit the like button below, subscribe to my channel for more amazing videos. I look forward to sharing next video. Thank you.